Hello, how are you doing, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Monday Money Podcast. I'm your co-host Aaron, and before we start, just a quick little disclaimer: nothing we say or talk about in this episode should be or can be taken as any form of financial advice. Make sure to always do your due diligence before taking any type of financial risk. Now, with that out of the way, Harm, what are we going to talk about today?
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about something a lot of us already have a little bit of knowledge about or have come in contact with, and that is courses. So, let's start it off real, as we do it as always, with the definition of a course. So, a course is a series of classes which are all in the same area of study. So, to start us off right, I'll throw in a quick little hypothetical, right? Let's say you're really into bodybuilding or you're into arts and crafts. So, generally, you go onto YouTube to find some new ideas, maybe hop on, watch some videos from your favorite YouTuber. It just might be the case that for some of these subjects, the YouTuber or the content creator or influencer themselves offers courses. These are, in essence, a series of paid classes which you can enroll in, so to say, in your own time to possibly get better at the craft or a subject that you like a lot. You'll find this very often in a series of subjects which is more popular than others. So let's take, for example, business and entrepreneurship. Business and entrepreneurship really goes off of the idea that we all want to be rich and we all want to make it in life. That's why you'll very often find that business-related YouTubers have their own forms of, well, courses, usually posted in the description of the channel and just ready for you to click on, basically. So let's say you want to enroll in one of these classes, right? Your favorite influencer is there, you click on the link and you enroll. Then you'll pay them a fee, and in exchange for that fee, you'll get access to their courses. These usually do come with some extras, like let's say a Discord server or some other kind of community, exclusive community, or possibly even exclusive contact with the content creator themselves. After enrolling here, you'll be greeted by a series of, well, classes. These classes are usually through the same medium, done by a pre-recorded video, then with possibly an assignment, or with extra information that might be handy to you in a certain field. So, what can you usually take out of this? Usually, it's only when you really want to get deeper into a field. You'll find these courses very often with hyper specialized content creators. So, for instance, that would be people that do investing and you want to follow their kind of investment strategy. Then it would be a logical way to, buy their course and try to find out how they do it.
Okay, so Harm, how can one start out with this whole
How does
course?
one start off with a course, right?
Yes.
So, for a lot of these people, it generally comes natural. Let's say you have a YouTube that's been blown up, or you just want to start it out from scratch. That's
Uh-huh.
two very different methods.
Mhm.
See, let's say I am an investment YouTuber, right? And I already have a decent following, and people are getting intrigued by the way I invest and what strategies work for me personally.
Mhm.
So, especially in the field of investing, there's a lot of different strategies, and every person or influencer seem to kind of have their own, really, in order to make money.
Mhm.
So, most people will want to copy a strategy like that. However, it can be relatively hard to do this through just the YouTube means.
Mhm.
So, instead of giving them all this information for free, why not go out on a limb here and say, I'd kind of like to make some profit off of this?
Yeah,
And that's usually where courses will come in. And while a lot of these courses can be very good as well and beneficial, I do also have to say, in my personal opinion at least, that a lot of these courses can also be relatively predatory in a way that they only push general information on you that you probably already know or could just look up in a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
So let's say you want to make one and you do not have a following yet. One of the most easy ways to at least get the advertisements out there would be TikTok. But before we go into that, let's say we're going to hop on WordPress, right? So we're going to have to make a website, get the course materials, get it all in a nice package, and then start shipping it. So let's say we have this all finished up. We've done the research, we've made a course, possibly even paid someone to make it for you. It gets done a lot these days, so who knows?
Mhm.
Then we already have the product ready. So now, of course, we're going to have to push out this project or this product. And this is mostly where the hard part comes in. And that's why a lot of courses have this financial background to at least back them up, or a cash inject from a third source like an investor.
Mhm.
Because in the modern day of advertising for business strategies and the likes on TikTok, you really need to be out there. And you either need to have the ideal personality and already have a following,
Mhm.
or you're going to have to make a name for yourself. and there isn't a very easy way to do this right now. That's why you'll usually see the same format for business-related courses. We've all seen them on our feed. We all know they're there, so you can probably follow along with this. Person A will most likely come out of either a yacht or a private airplane
Yeah.
that they then quote-unquote own, right?
Yeah.
The videos usually go like this. You'll either see like a nice supercar, beautiful women, and they're all used as a form of...
Just something to hook.
Yeah, they're just something to hook you in and show you basically the life that you want to live. So after they've managed to get your attention with this, that's when they can get to the advertising part of it. So after doing this and putting this online, which is already probably a relatively, large investment on their part, which of course makes sense because they want to drag in ample amounts of, customers, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
They'll hook you in and you'll get on their course. And what you notice with a lot of these courses is that they might not be substantially very good, but they offer you a community as well, a community aspect. It's something that's especially prevalent nowadays, with more of the influencers that are already out there doing it, and them offering you like an exclusive community to then hop into, which really makes you feel like you're part of something. So what this does for you as, well, the product creator, the manufacturer, so to say, this makes sure that they will keep filling their monthly subscription to you. Because that's always what we're going to want to do at the end of the day, right? We're here to make money for it.
Yeah.
So you've probably already had a lot of the big advertising things out of the way here. So the first cash inject, once you have fulfilled that, is already very good.
Mm-hmm.
So you've paid back whatever you had to. You've already made the money back. And now we can go with the extra turnover that we have now from new customers. We can put that into more advertising. And this advertising allows us to once again dip our feet into the same niches, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we can rent the same private jets, we can rent the same supercars, and we can advertise with those again.
Mm-hmm.
And what this allows us to do is keep it fresh and we make it a little more personal. Because the more people...
you would have to change it up by just making new videos, obviously not keeping the same advertisement always.
Yes, exactly. That'd be kind of it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they only see one clip of you, yes, some people will believe that you are living that lifestyle and that you really did make it. But there are going to be plenty of people who think or know that you've only hired these things for a certain clip. So what you're really going to want to do is up your standards and put it into everyone's head that you really are that guy. And that if they do as you tell them to do, they will make it. And even while this, of course, we all know it may not be the case for at least 90% of people, the 10% that will actually manage to make it may actually be your greatest allies. Because by the time that you've got them hooked in the course, they'll already most likely know you personally to a degree. Because that's all you really have to do with these kind of courses. You can try to shun out the haters, so to say, while keeping the people that did make it very close to you. Yeah. Well, to be fair, the people that make it with most of these courses would have probably also made it on their own if they tried hard enough, right? You're just jump-starting them, so to say. So, and that essentially also means that it's free marketing for you.
Yeah, I was about to say that sounds like the ones that actually make it are definitely also going to be the ones that are just constantly going to talk about your course and how they made it through you, which is the next step to advertise on this advertising thing, I think.
Exactly, which is one of the most powerful parts of it, because by the time that people are completing these courses and they're either getting their bad opinions or their good opinions out of it, you'll have probably a bigger influencer or a bigger community than those people will have, which also to a degree allows you to kind of shun them out, right? If there's enough people that love you and they're very vocal about it and you have a bigger platform, haters these days, or people that do not enjoy your content or do have criticism, will very much fall to the wayside. Because they will just be seen as the people that either didn't try hard enough or they just didn't want it to work in the first place. Yes. So this gives you a good amount of ground. So with this groundwork laid, there are, of course, a few bumps, right? You'll see nowadays that there's a lot of very expensive courses. So if I would have to give any form of, advice, so to say, I always suggest either starting off with a easy format to get into. You'll see it a lot these days with other types of programs as well. A lot of the VPN software out there nowadays will heavily advertise. Start off from $1 in the first month, right? Yes,
Yep.
we've all seen it a million times now. And it does work. However, the basis for these two may be a little bit different, since you're actually um, adding constantly evolving content to what you are giving to the people.
Hmm.
They will only need to give the same service out every month and then hope that people get used to it, to used to having it. While your content, of course, has to evolve to a certain degree,
Hmm.
or it doesn't even really have to, as long as you get people financially, or I mean personally hooked. Because as we know, people, they buy with their emotions and then they'll reason it with logic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that would bring me personally also to the thing of what kind of fields you should actually try to get yourself into. And for that I wrote down just some basic fields that are currently I would personally say a very very high selling markets, where you can actually try to find your niche in. And I will just top it off. It is computers and technology, business and entrepreneurship, arts and crafts, health and fitness, writing, entertainment, social science, science itself, yeah, lifestyle, personal development. That is a big niche as well. Well, it's not a niche, but you can find your niche in these fields definitely. Um, and how I would recommend how I would recommend getting your own niches is something that refers kind of to what Harm said in the beginning, which was what was it again? I think it was something like
Yeah, it would fall under business or
it was
investing.
something like you have to be hyper specialized in
Yeah,
your core in the course that you're selling, since you are teaching something, or you're trying to teach something with a course that is not so easily available out there in the internet, which you want to definitely teach something in the course that isn't that you can't really Google, something that comes from experience, um, where you can convey it yourself very good. And that would be my take on, if you get into one of these fields that I just listed, try to find obviously the field that you're specialized in. And that's the thing. That's the thing you might have to take into consideration before you start selling a course. You will have to get yourself into a field and gain a lot of knowledge, possibly even a bit, if you obviously just want to do it for the business side, and there's not a lot of, let's say, passion or personal, what is the word, not discipline, personal motivation behind it. You will definitely first of all have to do a lot of research in this field that you're trying to sell from, or that you're trying to sell your course from.
exactly. So being hyper specialized, especially in a course type of environment, will really work to your benefit. However, I am going to be very honest, and it may be a little bit of a bad opinion to have about it. I wouldn't actually say that being hyper specialized is a pure necessity for any of this. Because you know what I would do? I am not very much a lifestyle slash personal trainer person. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be the type of person you go for. You go to for that because I just don't have the knowledge.
Hmm.
But what if I told you that there's actually a shortcut to this, Aaron? Would you know what that is? Or
I think it would be doing your homework, just just getting really into this field, whether you want to or not, with just sheer discipline and learning all about it. Or maybe I never mind. I know what you're about to go to.
so, a fun little shortcut that you may have already thought about once or
Yes.
twice in your life is why not buy a course?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then what you don't even have to do is, of course, you should never go out and copy a course, right? We
Hmm.
all know this is plagiarism and it's extremely bad. Don't ever get into any of that.
Hmm.
However, there's nothing wrong with using these courses as a form of reference.
Hmm.
Usually nowadays, you can pick out probably like 50 business related courses, right? And
Yes.
at least 30 of those will almost be the same thing.
Yeah.
As long as they're in the same field, they'll regurgitate the same info, same, completely same thing, same format, same setups, etc.
Hmm.
Most of these business courses are not really sold on the aspect that they are very good.
Yeah.
The only thing that a course will mostly sell on, and of course this is only the first buy, this doesn't, I'm not talking about recurring buys, because if there are recurring payments, you are going to have to switch it up. But to get those first buyers hooked, the personality of the person advertising will be a lot more important, especially their personal success.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if you're a very, very well off business person, it's very likely that you could make a great course.
Mm-hmm.
However, not every person that thrives in business has an appealing personality towards business.
Mm-hmm.
So, even you can be one of the best businessmen in the world, world renowned. If your personality doesn't seem to fit or appeal to anybody, it's going to be very hard to sell them a course that way.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, unless you already have a public page by which a lot of people know your credentials, know what you're capable of, and know what you're good at, it's going to be very hard to just sell people courses if that's the only thing you want to do.
Which
But
could be
you're-
taken, as in the form of a YouTube channel, a good social media page, etc.
Exactly. I'm mainly talking about YouTube here because YouTube basically puts all your content in a straight line. Well, websites like TikTok would be better if you're just starting out because people will randomly get on your page through the algorithm,
That
which
is
isn't
true,
as much the
yeah.
case with YouTube.
And on YouTube, you also have very long videos which do convey your potential, I would say, or your competence very good, or well,
Exactly.
are definitely better to convey it than a 30-second TikTok.
Exactly. Which, if you're not all too confident in the field that you are actually making a course in, is very non beneficial to you because you don't want people to be able to poke holes through your story by
Yep.
making a 30-minute YouTube video and then adding a course on top. So in that way, I think if you want to make a course purely off of the money and you don't want to put in a lot of effort,
Mm-hmm.
read a course, regurgitate information, and then start making content about the personality that they want to see, not the things they want to see.
Yeah, that's true. There's this one thing that I wanted to start to talk about as well, though. Let's say you got your whole course down. You got your whole course thing down. Everything is, let's say, prepared, and the only thing you'll have to do now is just give it a price tag. Some general things you want to consider when you're choosing the price of your product is you have to tailor the price of your product kind of to the target audience. Let's say, but that also depends on whether it's the first time that you're selling this product, whether you're just launching the product, or whether it already exists. Because the further you go into your journey of selling your product, the more you can start to charge it, because then it has built a certain report for itself. You can at that point basically people know about the course, and if it's a good course, if you did your job right, let's just say, or if somebody else did the job for you right, then your course is going to sell positively, which then allows you to also increase the price. But let's go back to how to actually set the price. And that is a question that you can't really give it a number, but more so you can orient yourself toward you can orient yourself with your competitors in your niche and with
Mhm.
the target audience by tailoring it to it. Let's just say you sell courses for what would be something where people have a lot of money. One thing that would just randomly come into my mind is divers. Let's just say you have a course for divers, people that, well, at least to my knowledge, people that dive usually it's a pricey sport. Let's just say that. Let's just say it this way. Um, people that go diving, you have to obviously buy the whole what is it called?
Yeah, the gear, the
Yeah,
equipment.
the gear, the equipment. So these people tend to have the money for it, and this way by looking at your competitors now, for diving courses, you can look at the price that the competitors charge and try to stay in that range. When you know when you for example, just to like try and look what the competitor's product is doing, by the competitor's course and look at it, and you for certain know that your course is better than them, you can maybe start to charge a bit more. That is all. Those are all some things that you have to really take into consideration when you're choosing the price of it.
Well, yeah, of course, and that goes for most things, so to say.
Yeah.
What I mostly think you can also base price off will be the saturation of a given market. So
Oh yes.
let's say, of course, that we have already seen like thousands of business gurus right now. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're more common than mice in a barn, so to say.
They
Um,
yeah.
and it's getting to a degree where you'll usually always see the same $30 course just out there sitting, buy me, buy me, buy me. And there comes a time in this where it's most likely already being done as we speak. There will be people that will simply try to undercut the market. So the things that you have to watch out for when they are undercutting the market is a lot of the things. We already know that a lot of the business course or the business related courses these days are not very good, well, value for what you're actually getting, right? Like a lot of
Mhm.
the information is already out there. You can already get your hands on it if you just do a couple Google researches. So why can these courses actually be, so cheap? Is what you should ask yourself then. If you're talking about a very broad subject for which you need to be highly schooled, how can it be that business courses can be this cheap? And that is simply due to the regurgitation of information these days.
Mhm.
Like I already said previously, all these courses are going to be following about the same steps and they're going to teach you about the same things. They'll most likely go into the mentality, what you need to do afterwards, the different kinds of investing, and they'll give relatively generic information regarding that. So by undercutting the market, that doesn't have to mean that your product is actually very bad at all. You're simply offering what these other courses are also doing, except they're doing it for a way higher price.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that your course has to be bad or, worse than any of these other ones.
Mhm.
It's just a good way of doing the business and saying, I'm going to go for a little bit of a different audience. I don't want the audience that spends, let's say, 200 euros on a course or $200 on a course.
Mhm.
I mean, I know I would not certainly just hop onto something like that.
Definitely.
See, and that's also one of the things you have to take into consideration then. If you're already a very known platform, a very well known platform, like a very big influencer, you can really get away with these prices. Well, the average Joe Smo will absolutely not be able to get away with these prices if you have no credentials.
Mhm.
And it's really a combination of all of these factors which you have to take a look at before pricing something like this.
Yeah.
And I would always like to give the advice to take a look at your content and think about what you think it's worth. But in actuality, it doesn't work out a lot anymore. See, if you are hyper specialized in something like Aaron says, diving or something of the likes, of course your price can be a little higher. It will be steeper because you are a professional and what you are teaching is very much there, and you do really know your craft. But if that's really not the case, you should really take a look at some other venues for it first, or other avenues of at least getting this business started.
Yeah.
So we have talked in the past about dropshipping as well. And there's actually an interesting side hustle or a side thing next to this, which also kind of relates to courses. So, Aaron, have you ever heard about ghost commerce?
Until you talked about it, no.
All right. So, let's say we do have someone selling courses, and you are, let's say, a public figure or someone, an influencer within the space.
Yeah.
What a lot of these companies will allow you to do is they'll buy or they'll sell you a more expensive version of their course,
Mm-hmm.
which you are allowed to resell to other people, in essence. So you then keep keep a part of this money for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
While the investment in those will be a little higher, there will be possibly, at least, a very high conversion rate. Because what this allows you to do is not make your own course, which saves you a lot of time.
And
Um,
money
of
and effort.
course, while this is very much a positive thing, I think at least, you can always get this started from, let's say, like TikTok and making the usual advertisements you would do for dropshipping, kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you are an influencer, there are some, I'd argue, also some pretty big downfalls to this plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there is someone who's very influential and you listen to him a lot or you watch a lot of his stuff and you're buying a course of him. What kind of course or who do you think, Aaron, would lead that course that you're buying?
Well, the influencer.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all expect it to be the influencer. So then if it's not him or her that's starting off the course already, you're already kind of a foot behind, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it's a good thing and it can make you a lot of money, even if the content is extremely good,
Mm-hmm.
it still leaves a bit of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths to know that you just gave him someone else's course, basically.
Yeah.
So while I think that ghost commerce is a very good thing, I would absolutely not, under any circumstances, put this in any form of influencer marketing, to be honest. If you are completely faceless, I mean, sure, it's bottoms up, go right ahead.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really fits influencer marketing too well.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you're selling essentially somebody else's course,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm okay. Maybe I think as an influencer, that is something you can actually do if you more so display it as a form of partnership, maybe.
Well, yeah, that would be probably one of the
But then,
few ways, right?
but then there's the question: is it really ghost commerce at that point, or is it more so just a collaboration, or um, I don't know the right term for it right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, a collaboration.
it would seem like a collaborative effort, so to say, but I still think that it'd be a little bit odd to sell that, at least if you're really putting your face on it as well.
Yeah.
But of course, if you are making your own course, which I mean, that's clearly what we're talking about here today anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not try that? Why not try and sell it to an influencer who then, possibly unknowingly, of course, they pay you a higher price, or they'll get an affiliate link in that case because you're just starting off. A lot of the people that do this ghost commerce will most likely be reaching out to you if you are a bit of a stable platform or you're on one of the sites that they can use for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you're going to step out to an influencer, maybe offer it as a form of affiliate marketing, It's something that can blend in very well with that. Because, to be very honest, I don't think a lot of the influencers nowadays actually know what they're selling or what they're pushing out there.
Mhm.
I mean, we hear it a lot of, I really like this sponsorship because I really trust in their product. It's probably one of the most said sentences in YouTube history this year. And even though it's said that much, it's oftentimes not really the case, right?
Mhm.
Mostly it's just about the money. And, at the end of the day, everything's about the money here. So it completely checks out, in my opinion.
That's why we are called the Monday Money Podcast.
Exactly. So, you have anything
But
to add?
that would bring me to another question, though. We're already talking about selling this whole thing, and I think we're missing a kind of essential practical step. Where can we actually sell our courses on?
Where we
So
can sell our courses on.
yes, so as far as I've seen it, it is definitely Udemy and Masterclass. Those are the most useful out.
Yeah, Udemy is a very good website, which I have also personally taken a look at in the past.
Yeah.
It's a very good, a pool of ones to take your pick from,
Mhm.
because you can look at a certain subject and you'll find hundreds of courses on there,
Mhm.
which makes it very easily for you to see what matches you best and then select one based off of that.
Doesn't that kind of dilute it all?
Exactly, that's what I was just about to say.
Oh.
What does happen if you end up putting a course on Udemy? It may be that after some time you'll get a click. However, you're really jumping into kind of shark infested waters in a way.
Yeah.
You've basically made an investment into a course that you are now putting on a website which is filled with courses that already have 5-star ratings and are already on discounts, and basically you're going to be undercut a lot of the way there. And I don't think that putting it on Udemy
Mhm.
will be a very good one. I personally think that Udemy would be best for, instead of possibly going with a very hands-on, let's say, investing route, would probably be better for a little bit of an educative route.
Mhm.
So let's say you're very good in a certain field. I believe Udemy has a lot of computer and penetration testing courses on there.
Yeah.
At least last time I looked, it had a lot of those. And you'll notice that a lot of these people are clashing basically in a way with that, because these courses are relatively easy to make. It's almost like you're watching a slideshow, to be honest, or someone just taking a screen recording, and then you just copy what they do basically with some questions in the description.
Hmm.
So in that way, I think Udemy is good. But if you are trying to hook people on a lifestyle, I don't feel like those are the people that will go onto websites like that in the first place.
Hmm. Do you have do you also you probably know about Skillshare as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So is there a difference, or do you know if there's a difference between those two?
I have personally never used Skillshare. However,
Yeah.
obviously, it is a very well advertised platform and very well known.
It's as far as I'm concerned, it's more so about creative things, or more so in the creative space.
Yeah, it is very much in the creative space, so to say. But it does also offer like educative systems, like I believe mathematics and basically all those kinds of things.
Hmm.
I'm not all too sure. They probably do have economic stuff on there a lot as well, which is
Yeah.
just, I mean, seems relatively logical to me. But I wouldn't be able to say anything about that, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So, as for to say, like, put your course on Udemy or put it on Skillshare or wherever like that, I still think that building your own website will be the best way to go with any of this.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would probably take definitely this aspect of diluting your product into the shark infested waters, as you said. That will take definitely this problem at least away, and make it way easier for people to access your online course.
Yeah, indeed. I think so at least. So that's basically some of the things that you have to at least keep in mind while doing this. Because, to be fair, courses have been starting to get relatively popular now in the last few years.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, let's say like 6 or 7 years ago, I don't think I saw them a whole lot, or there wasn't a whole lot of talk about them.
Uh huh.
And as we're growing basically further and further into the digital age right now, it's just there's just going to be more and more of them. Really, to be honest.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, people are learning by this every day. It's something that doesn't seem to be going away in the near future as well.
No, I highly doubt that as well. As long as there will be influencers that are good at a certain topic or they specialize in a certain topic,
Yeah.
there will also always be courses made by these people.
But you do still have this. I think you do still have this problem that a lot of people think it's something. It's when you see an online course as the consumer, or for me personally, I don't necessarily want to buy it in the first place. I first of all, well, I obviously buy it for what it can teach me, and when it is being very well advertised. But that's something I think we still have to overcome in some way. In some way that you can actually like do it yourself, or well, in a way that you can yourself fix it, or in a way where we as a broad community, I would say, should have to fix it, because nobody wakes up and thinks oh, you know what, today I'm going to buy an online course. No, you obviously have to be propelled towards it first, and then you maybe sit around and consider, okay, should I actually spend my money on that online course, especially if you don't have that much money, I would say, or if you still very much have to keep track of your money. So I think that is kind of the only downside to it, which is something that I would probably see as a factor that could probably tell me that if whether um, online courses are going to survive in the long run. But at the same time, it's something that grows on the internet, and the internet is not going to
Yeah,
go away here.
I personally have always thought at least that to sell an online course, it really comes down to three types of mindsets, basically.
Hmm.
So the first mindset will be there's an influencer there who who really leads or has the life that you want,
Hmm.
and therefore you're trying to basically buy this course not so much out of reason or
Yeah.
like out of logical thinking, but because you want a fast track towards that life. And if that's all you're looking for, I can pretty soundly say that it might already be a little bit disappointing, because if you're not going to actually put in the work, the course is going to be useless.
Hmm.
The second one will be for those people that are trying to learn a very broad subject for which they do not even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So let's say you're getting into something which is computer based. So you're already going to be working on an OS system, so an operating system that you have no idea about. You don't know how anything works. You don't know any of the terminology. So you can't really Google anything. It's like if I'm trying to make you explain what a pineapple looks like, but you've never seen a pineapple and you don't even know what the word is, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to be able to do it. Therefore, a course can be very nicely packaged in chronological order so you can actually get the information, right?
Hmm.
In that case, it's going to be kind of like reading a textbook for school, so to say. And then the third one will be for the people that think that they're lacking something or lacking information. So they probably already know a lot about a subject, and maybe they don't know themselves that they know a lot about the subject, or there are just the finer details that they want to get into further. And that's maybe a reason to get a course, to like when it feels you're missing something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really the three types of mindsets that I think you should get down to when you're doing a course. So, for example, for computer science related stuff, probably go with the, not too cheap, not all too expensive, a bit of the people who literally just want to learn. Business nowadays comes a lot to influencer marketing, putting that lifestyle out there that people want to really live, and advertising that heavily for your course. And then the third one will be for, partially also, I think, a lot of the sources or the markets that have these little finer details which people aren't really aware of, So probably to explain those, I'd say.
Yes. All right.
So-
I would say let's wrap it up.
Yep, I'd say so too. Thank you all so very much for watching today's episode of the Monday Money Podcast, going live at you every Monday at 6 p.m. Today, sadly, it was not the case. We had a little bit of a hiatus, and our apologies for that.
Yes, our
But-
apologies for that.
But with all of that out of the way, Aaron, can you please roll the credits once again?
Of course. All right, guys. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and you can join our Discord server. Thank you all very much for tuning in. See you next time.